to begin.
Hey, what's up, guys, and welcome back to another episode of the Social Primate Podcast. Thank you guys for tuning back in. Today's episode's a little weird, it's a little different, and it's definitely going to be triggering some of you listeners. I just want to give you a disclaimer that this is not a politically correct episode, and just to keep in mind that the idea of the conversation we had is not to defend, agree, or nor justify the set of viewpoints that we had. And honestly, the only reason we wanted to have this conversation is to have an open discussion about these topics to better understand how we can fix and move forward in regards to what standards men are held up to. So this is definitely a mansplaining episode. And if you're not into that, or you feel like it's an ignorant viewpoint to talk about, and that's completely understandable, and I do recommend to tune out and maybe check out the following episode. Again, this is ultimately just to create conversation, and with that feedback and anything that we receive from our listeners, it helps us to move past personal ignorances, if there are any, or just to become a better understanding in regards to how other people see these topics as well. With that being said, my guest today is Al Gordon. Overall, it was a good conversation. Again, there's going to be these moments that you're going to question what we're talking about, or maybe not fully understand what we're trying to say. And that's completely understandable. And I'm with you all on this. Just want to make sure that you guys are clear going into this of what you should expect. With that being said, let's stop being so serious. And, we have music today. We have Divine Intervention with their song, The Intro. Now, this is a pretty sick ass song. I love the beat to it. If you're trying to find more on them, you can find them on YouTube. I believe they recently released a video. And then they have an EP album on Spotify you can also check out. So stick around the next couple of seconds to hear the song. And if you want to check them out or listen to the full song, just stay tuned to the end of the episode. And without much further ado, I hope you guys enjoy this. And please don't send us hate mail. Hope you enjoy it.
Welcome, the sound of the bell rung. Too much heat, you just couldn't repel, son. Here comes Pete with no reason to compete. So don't sleep, cause I'll sweep you off your feet when I excel, son. I'm writing this with my left, this shit is strictly for the deaf. The old soul goes, but not dead, it is Generation Seth, baby Benji and the rest of the others that were born and took their first breath. They say there's no hope, but don't know the depths of the strength of the soul, even after you're dead. However, at this point it is now or never. Throughout this heat, I now enjoy rain cloud better. And through this beat, there is an elevated beat deep with the raps, like the way you meditate and breathe. Sleep, but don't get caught up into inceptive dreams. Before that voice gets loud, we must intercept the screams. You wanna go inside the mind of a lost soul? I don't know where to begin or where to end. The sands of the innocent in the same predicament. Stand bitterness in the sand. I'm sick of this system. It's like listening to the same rhythm and all the.
At the button to begin.
I'm still muted. Oh, wait, there we go. Oh, yeah. See, that's part of the show. All the little mistakes, they're all part of it.
Hey, you say it was going to get awkward. There you go.
And that's how you start off, Otherwise, what show will you be watching?
Exactly.
So, everybody, thank you for coming back and tuning into the Social Primate Podcast. We got another episode for you, as you can tell. And today we have a special guest traveling all the way from a good couple of miles in the LA area. We got Al Gordon. What's up, man?
Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. Thank you for coming out. I know it was it's like you mentioned earlier. It's a little weird getting into this area. Not a bad weird, but
not bad. I thought I was heading to the bike path to ride to Long Beach.
Yeah,
just the way I normally go.
Oh, okay.
So
right.
I normally enter the bike path like a mile away, then I head straight to Long Beach. So I was like, are we going for a bike ride today? I didn't bring my bike. But anyway, it's all good.
No, well, again, thank you for coming out.
Okay.
I'm excited. You mentioned earlier too. So I mean, if you don't mind, giving us a little bit of background about what you do, just so the people can, know the know.
Yeah, I'm Al Gordon. I've been in the hospitality industry for over 25 plus years. Chef by trade. Now I'm leaning more into consultant. Doing more consulting with individuals. Problem solving, more training the staff, making the kitchen more efficient. Since there's so many, the chefs are no longer in the kitchen as much anymore. They're more kitchen managers, so now cooks are training cooks. So a lot is getting lost behind the scenes. So I kind of go in and say, okay, let's refine this, make it more efficient, and help with morale. A lot of time morale gets kind of bummed out because it's like you're doing the same thing over and over again. So to get some fresh blood in there to be like, this is why you do it, this is why we love it, then it kind of motivates people a little bit. So I do a little bit of all that good stuff.
I mean, is that something that's like heavy in that industry? Like just that heavy to keep that morale up?
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I mean, you know, I come from an industry where it's known like, you know, drinking and alcohol and depression and, you know, suicide and all that stuff happens over a period of time because there's no outlet. And what happens, I always tell people, whatever you do for a living, find something else that takes your mind away from what your regular thing is. So don't be all, I'm a foodie, I'm into food. That's fine, that's all fine and dandy, but you got to find something to take you out of it. Yeah. Or else this is all you. Once this is over, then you're pretty much over. You know.
Like in regards to, you mentioned when it's over, you mean what they're into or what they're...
Well, when it's over, meaning like, let's say you get burnt out of cooking. I don't want to cook anymore. I don't want to see a stove. I don't want to touch anything food related. What are you gonna do? You don't have any hobbies. You don't have anything else that you remotely do. Yeah. So no matter what happens, you're kind of stuck. So you almost have to go back out of necessity, not because you want to be there. So for me, I always tell people, no matter what you do, find something else you like to do. I don't care what it is. Working in a bike shop, you know, volunteering at the beach cleanup. I don't care what it is. Just do something else that you can network and meet other people and you know, something like that.
Ah, gotcha. I mean, that's actually, well, fuck, I'm getting tongue-tied here. There's actually a great point in regards to that because, again, you know, you think you become that one thing, and it's harder for you to jump out and try those new things, you know? It's kind of like, you know, like me, I work and stuff, and then outside of that, I still try to pursue something completely different, something that's, I guess, a passion, you would say, but you're still doing that other stuff, like, again, you said, to network and continue to meet those other different people that otherwise you wouldn't come across.
Right. And especially us, because we're behind the scenes. Yeah. You know, we're in the kitchen, you never see us. Like, we're back there, you would never see us unless it's before work or after work. That's the only time you'll see us for the most part. And you won't see us at family functions because we're cooking for family functions. So you would never see us. So people used to say, where do you find Al? He's either on a bike ride or in the kitchen. Those are two places. That's why my relationship's so good, because like, if he's not at work, he's on his bike. So he's not, you know, at the club. He's not out anywhere. He's just a A or B. So that's the trade-off.
No, okay. So I mean, how did you get into that? How was that? What made you decide to get into that and start trying to be there for others?
Others or in the industry?
Well, let's say others. I would say
others.
Yeah.
I just realized that.
I'm gonna turn this off real quick.
Yeah, I realized that a lot of it's a male-dominated industry for the most part. But I realized a lot of guys don't have someone to talk to, let alone someone to listen. Yeah. So when they see someone that's been doing it for long as I have, they kind of want to know, like, how were you able to maintain, you know, your health, your fitness, your career after all these years, you know, without, you know, I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't do anything. So they're kind of like, that's odd. Yeah. So how were you able to maintain it? So I think by letting them know the certain things that I do, maybe they can keep it in their back pocket, use it when they feel they're ready to use it. But my thing is to make sure, like, guys are able to be heard, understood, and you have someone that actually gives a damn, honestly.
Yeah. Well, I mean, now to kind of play the devil's advocate, you know, somebody listening to that would say, like, well, why do you need to focus on men? Like, they've been the focus, you know those conversations, right? So what do you have to say in regards to that? Like, I have my own perspective on that too. You know, I think you know, there's definitely, whether people would like to admit it or not, there's biases, you know, in regards to how things are handled, you know, right, in different, you know, because of the different I'd say genders, you would say, right. And you know, a lot of people don't want to admit it, and they just, you know, I don't want to say they play the victim card, but they technically do play that card and say, hey, well, you've had it for this long, why do you get to complain?
I don't see it my focal point is to just listen to men. I'm not saying it's complaining, I'm not saying it's bitching. Yeah. My thing is just to know, like, it's almost like sometimes you can't tell your father certain things that you're thinking about. You could tell your homeboy, but he doesn't have the knowledge of your father or your uncle.
Right.
You can tell your uncle, but is your uncle eventually going to tell your dad because he cares about you? So sometimes having someone that you don't know, you can share more with than someone you do know because of judgment or whatever the case may be. It's almost like you tell your dad certain things. Well, I didn't raise you that way. Or you tell your mom that, well, we didn't raise you. Now you're getting, whereas your homeboy's like, dude, it's all good. I've been through that last year and this is what I did, blah, 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 blah. And that I'm just taking it to the next level beyond that, meaning we're in a professional environment. We're working in a hot, loud at times, a lot of different personalities at one time. So you got to maneuver through that. And you have managers and you have servers, you have so many things. So my point is that whether you're in my industry or not, there's still stresses that come along with a lot of things that come on your shoulder as soon as you're a teen. When you come in a teen, okay, I got to go buy stuff for the prom. I got to get a corsage, got to rent a limo, blah, blah, blah. And that's just high school.
Yeah.
And then you got to focus like, okay, am I going to go to a trade school? What am I going to do after? So all these decisions you have to make whether you like it or not. Ain't no one gonna say, well, you're a guy, you're young, take it easy. It's okay. I mean, we'll get you a job. No, there's none of that stuff. When I go to a bar or a club, ain't nobody buying me a drink. I gotta have money to buy my drink. If I see someone, let me buy her. Like, the responsibilities start for a man very, very young.
Yeah.
So my point is like, once I meet them in my environment, it's not like I'm trying to counter them. I just want them to see the way I maneuver, and they can take it or leave it, whatever they. Most of the time, they gravitate to it. Because I'm usually in a management role, but I'm not a condescending manager, meaning like, you don't know that, what's wrong with you? You don't know that, let me show you a few times. Now, if you don't pick it up, that's on you. But I'm not coming at you as an a-hole. It's more like, this is what I'm doing, this is how I move. And, I try to simplify life for them, for the most part.
Right.
Life isn't simple, you know that.
Yeah, for sure. No, it definitely has its things. And I think, like you said, there's these standards that I guess society has set on that you have to meet in regards to what it takes to be a independent man, you would say,
Right.
And for sure, the way things have been going as time has progressed since then, you're still accountable, you're still held to those standards, even if the roles have changed, in a sense.
Right.
But, I was reading some stuff today about, in regards to, I think we briefly mentioned this once, which I completely don't understand yet, like the red pill, blue pill kind of stuff.
Right.
So I was just trying to decipher, like trying to understand like where that came from. And again, it's, how can I say it? I don't know how can I say it? I mean, does that have anything to do with how you approach things?
Well, I just recently heard of the whole red blue pill for the last 6 months, and I've been trying to, and everyone has a take on it. And pretty much, red pill is almost like a Clint Eastwood, John Wayne, a Chris Brown.
Yeah.
I don't take any mess. I make my own lane. 50 Cent. Or I'm not saying these guys are the epitome. I'm just saying as an example.
Yeah.
I don't take any mess. I'm going to make my lane. I'm going to stand for what I believe in, and that's all there is to it. Now, the blue pill falls into place, whereas, from what I understand, a lot of young men were raised by a single-family household, so you almost like, well, my mom said this, my mom said that. And a lot of times in culture, it's just like, well, just do what your mother says because I don't want to get in an argument. Whereas in the past, it's like, no, I'm your father, I'm the male whatever, and this is what it is, and that's it. Whereas when I grew up, it's like, I can say whatever, but you got to go ask your dad. Yeah. Like, man, I got to roll the dice. Hopefully my dad said I can go do da-da-da-da. Now, if you don't have that other person there, well, what your mom says goes. It's just, there's nothing wrong with that. But then it gets to a point where when you start going out on dates, it's like my roommate went out on a date and this girl showed up late, and he told me he was going out with, I'm like, okay, make sure she knows, give her a little extra half an hour if she's going to be late. So he calls, okay, we're going to meet up at 8. And she's like, yeah. I said, tell her 9 o'clock. No, I can do 8:30. Then it was like 8:45. And then she texted from a parking lot, I'm parking, it's 8:45. And I'm like, so my point is that what I've been doing, like, thank you for your time, I got to roll, I'm out. The same way your time is valuable, the same way my time is valuable. But a blue pill guy's like, no, let me stick it out. I don't want to be, I haven't been on a date in a while. Yeah. I may be a little thirsty. Let me hang in there and see what happens. Whereas like,
yeah, maybe thirsty.
I mean, that's just what it is.
Yeah, you get a drink at the bar. Yeah.
Yeah. So a lot of times guys end up bending over backwards. And then if you're even in high school, it's like, They say the nice guys finish last, and I was always that one nice guy.
Yeah, I was a nice guy too.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just a nice person. I don't want to treat you bad just to be a-hole.
Yeah.
You know, but I realized a guy who was always a knucklehead, acting up in class, smoking, doing whatever, he always had that bad chick. And I'm like, how you get that bad chick? And he ain't worth a damn. And I knew this back in high school.
Yeah.
And the same thing happened out of high school. You're like, how's that bad? You know, how's that even possible? But it's like, she'll kick it with you. Thank you for dinner. I had a good time. I'm going to hit this joke up and see what he's into. I probably can't get a hold of him because he's already getting into some stuff. But, you know, I'm not going to give you that perk.
Yeah.
So that's where the red pill, blue pill, meaning the red pill, I'm not going to take it. Leave me alone. If you don't want to rock with me, that's fine. There's 20 other people want to take your slot. I'm good. And the blue pill guys, like they say, a woman finds a blue pill after they're 35. They're ready to settle down. They kind of hit the wall. They got a kid or two. Okay, now you're a nice guy. Let me rock with you now because, you know, my options are limited.
Yeah, right.
So that's kind of how it all came about.
So, there's been a lot of debates over like the last couple of years, at least in different podcasts that I've heard, or just, I guess just people who are coming. There's this guy named Jordan Peterson. I don't know if you heard of him, but one of his things was that I'm just paraphrasing here, and I might not put it into context, but I'm just saying how at the end of it, we're still biological creatures, and there's biological means in what drives us,
right? And
how we got to our point now through evolution,
right?
Whether you believe it or not, or whether you stand on one side or not, that those still are the foundation of our, being,
right?
And so a lot of people gave them, shit for that. They blew them up, which I'm pretty sure if those people are listening to this now, they're like, what the fuck are these guys talking about?
Right.
And
right.
But again, at the end of it all, there is that biological definition of what has been said. Yes, it can change as science progresses and as you learn more, but there's still that basis of it. So, saying with the red pill, blue pill, and how you brought up the high school stuff, like, you're in school and you see how these dynamics are at work. There's no fact and there's no lie that isn't happening, and it's real. You're wondering, and you are the smaller kid while the other taller kids are getting the attention because they are seen as that higher value male per se. And, people don't want to really see that. They just base that the moment you start talking about it, you're in the wrong and that you shouldn't, you're against them and that you're not with them.
Right.
I mean, I don't know how our conversation might even try to better that conversation, but I think it's important that we're having it, because at the end of the game, again, like for example, a few weeks ago I saw some person online. It was a girl, and she posts a post on Instagram that says, if a man can't buy me dinner, then he doesn't deserve my time or something. Right. And I was like, okay, I have my own judgment in regards to that. But I started going through the comments and I'm like, really like, damn, like, how can you say that and then at the same time expect to be like completely independent, or that you have no need for somebody else, but then still have or hold men to that standard that they have to be a certain way to get something out of you in a sense. And it just made me think, like, how can somebody just be so naive in regards to that?
Okay. You look at it one way, that's true. There's a few different ways we can go about this. I look at it as a woman's going to be a woman regardless.
Right.
It's like a simple thing. Let's say a quinceañera, right? A quinceañera, a girl turns 15, she gets a big party, or whatever they can afford. Gets a big party. So I was dating this chick, and I said, so what does a guy get? What does a 15-year-old boy get? We're driving, went to go visit my father. We're driving back to LA, and I'm like, so what does the boy get? A hat, a buckle, some boots. Like, what does he get? And the car went quiet.
Yeah.
It was my girl, her mom, and her daughter. And I'm like, so what does the guy get? Silence in the car. It's complete silence. So, I mean, that's just one aspect of it. So my point is that in all the cultures, if you figure, a young girl sees her mom, goes on dates, and the guy pays. So that's her first thing. Or, she's in high school, and the hot girl gets lunch paid for, or she gets picked up in the guy who has a car, which a lot of us didn't. She gets, back then you could leave the campus and go to lunch when I was in high school. You can't do it anymore.
And now you're gated.
Right, exactly. But, the guy with the car always had the girl. They go to lunch, and you're standing there eating your little whatever, Twinkies or whatever, and just call it a day. But my point is that it's always been like that. So my point is, like, if a girl or the person you're trying to get with expect that from you, then you know where to categorize them. You know, anytime I hang with so-and-so, she's going to expect XYZ. Okay, so if you know that going in, you can't be mad at her because she's just using her resources. So meaning, if I drive past her in a Land Rover with another chick, she's like, oh wow, I got to step my game up because Al just rode through in a truck with someone else and it wasn't me. See what I'm saying? So what I'm saying is that as long as you know people's roles, meaning you know how to deal with them. But a lot of times guys get upset because they're like, oh yeah, she went to dinner with him and him and him, and that's cool, but there's 10 other females that you're not even looking at right now. You're not looking at that nerdy chick that wear glasses that has braces and that's going to be bad in a few years when she takes those things off. Not to say she ain't bad now, but I'm just saying that there's certain people that's going through a transition that they got good moral values. It's just they're not visually appealing to what we're used to seeing.
Right, because we have our own standards too, and that's been
No, exactly. Set. Exactly. So you can't compare Instagram model or social media model to your girl next door. It doesn't make any sense. But at the same time, the girl next door, if her standards are aiming to be that thought or whatever it is they call themselves these days, if she's aiming for that, then that's just what it is. I just feel, as I'm always talking to men, as soon as men get themselves in that professional situation, that trade school, that whatever it may be, online courses, whatever, get yourself in that professional situation as soon as possible, because a lot of times professional women, they're like, there's no guys to date because the further I move up in economic
it's funny.
ladder,
I read an article like that.
It's hard for them to meet men. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's where we're dropping the ball. Just if you know someone's rocking a certain way, don't try to change them. If they're used to going and getting handouts, let them get their handouts. You don't focus on changing people. And that's where I think we're going wrong. We're trying to say, well, you can do better, but dude, maybe they can't. You got to leave them in their lane. You can't want more for someone else. And that's where I think we're at right now. We're trying to coerce and tweak people. Leave them where they're at. It's okay. You can't bring everybody with you.
I mean, and ultimately, you only have control over yourself. And I think, like you said, that's something that is overlooked a lot of times, because like you said, you try to change people. Like, hey, no, maybe you do this way because I don't like when you do certain things.
Right.
When in reality, it's easier for you to say, okay, maybe I got to reflect on what it is that I'm asking for, and seeing if it's actually possible, and then being realistic with those.
I mean, think about it. I was driving. I mean, we have a huge homeless problem here in LA. How many times you've seen a homeless guy walking with this homeless chick next to him? He's pushing cars, he's doing whatever, and I'm like, dude, you're sleeping in a box, bro, and you got a chick following you. My point is that at a certain time, she decided, I need to follow this guy's program. Good or bad, I'm gonna rock with this guy. And that's the same thing we got to do. Meaning, it's real simple. I do this for a living. This is what I do in my off time, and I want to treat you this way. Really simple. I always put things out in the line. Real simple. Now you can kind of like, well, I think I could change him into starting a family or getting married. I already told you. Life partnership, not a problem. I don't want to get married. I don't want to have any kids, and that's what I want to rock with. It's up to you. You decide what you want to do. But I'm not going to be sitting back here getting into arguments in the street and getting arguments via text and showing up at your job, and you definitely ain't showing up at my job. But my point is that you got to own that. You don't know, it's like a lot of women are attracted to military men because they have a structure. They wake up, they spread their, they make their bed, they have their breakfast, and they have their system. So she knows what role she plays. I think what happens is a lot of guys don't initiate what role you want your girl to play. What I run into is that I'm so structured, and I pretty much don't need a woman for anything for the most part. I'm a chef, so the kitchen's it's a wrap with food.
That's the main.
You ain't got to worry about that. I do my own laundry. You ain't got to worry about that. My spot's always clean. You ain't got to worry about that. So a lot of times women are like, well, how can I need a job to rock with you because I don't know what to do. And for me, it's like, my thought was like, if I'm self-contained, when you hanging out with me, you can relax. Less stress on you, less stress on me, and we have a good time. But I realized that's not the plan. I got to give you certain things you need to do in a relationship so you feel like you're contributing to the relationship. Because some people don't have the discipline to say, okay, you got it together, I'm going to roll with you and do X, Y, Z. They need technically a job when they're with you. But at the same time, you got to be self-contained, meaning I can't say, well, I don't know how to make spaghetti.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know how to do laundry. It's like, dude, you're a grown-ass man. What you mean you don't know how to cook something?
Yeah.
You can't cook 3 dishes, spam and eggs, some rice, and call it. Seriously.
Yeah, I mean, you can survive off of that.
My point is,
Yeah.
like, at least you have those 3 dishes that you can rock out and stay
Yeah.
alive. That's my, and with YouTube, and we didn't have YouTube. We had a card catalog in the library. Hey, make it work. So my point is, like, these days, a man has no excuse. But at the same time, make it happen, take it easy, but you got to stand your ground. And I know it's going to hurt that she don't want to rock with you like that, but you're going to have to let her go. You know, but I guarantee you get further ahead in your life and your career once you have your S together.
Yeah, correct.
It doesn't have to be picture perfect and shiny, but at least you have some kind of structure and you're trying to be a better person. The problem is you're like, well, you know, she needs this, so I got to pay for this, and she needs that. She's always going to need something. Always going to need something. Very few, and I mean, maybe in one hand, that could say, you know what, she was tight. She didn't really need me for much, but we rocked together because we had a mutual understanding, and that's what we're trying to get to.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, because the thing, you know, I keep thinking, like, okay, while you're saying, I'm thinking, okay, what is that? What is somebody's counterpoint? And it's like, I keep going to the part that they think it's just a misogynistic idea, in the sense, you know, and in reality, I mean, in any situation you can take to an extreme,
right?
You know, and I think unless you understand the actual, you know, the inception of how this evolved, you're not gonna really understand, and you're gonna immediately label it as something bad. You know, in regards to when people are dating, you know, or you know, you're expected to hold the door, pay for the meal, right? You're supposed to cater to them and basically, in a sense, what's the word I'm looking for? It's not the word. It's not seduce. Court them. Right. Court them into whatever it is that you want at the end game.
Right.
But at the same time, if you were to tell yourself, like, okay, I know what I want, and then if for example, let's say I'm with somebody and I feel like that person's not putting what I require or what I want from a relationship as well, it makes you second guess something like, okay, well, does this person really ultimately care as much as the effort I'm putting into somebody else or to them? And it makes you start thinking, okay, like, what is it at the end? You could do whatever it is to that person, but what is it at the end that is having that person with you? Like, what value are you giving her in her life that says, I'm going to stay around this guy or this person, whatever, and what am I going to be putting up with because of that? So, I lost my point here. What I'm trying to say here is, how do you talk about this without it making it sound like you know, men have to be fucking assholes or, you know, focus on themselves, selfish, to get to where they need to be?
Okay, so real simple. This is simple. It's like a counselor or something, but anyway. Let's do that. If I'll let you pick whatever chick you want, and both of you guys get on Tinder or get on whatever dating app you want, and we'll go have dinner. We start this at 7:00 p.m. We start the same profile, you know, whatever, same, you know, 2 attractive people. We'll go have dinner, spend 3 hours, come back. How many notes or hits you think she's gonna get compared to you? There's a ballpark number.
Oh yeah, that's a huge difference. It's, I'll say 1 in 1,000 maybe. Maybe that's exaggerating, but for sure it's a big ass difference. Like,
say over 100, right?
Yeah.
You might get 1, 2.
Yeah, maybe 2. If it's not spam or like, hey, join my web chat. Yeah.
Okay. So if she's used to getting attention, Facebook, Instagram, oh, you look cute in that, yada, yada, yada.
Countless people, yeah.
From all over the world. Back in the day, you only had to block. Oh, you live down the street from me? Oh, that's the bad chick down the street. You know, I'll be trying to holler at her, yada, yada. Don't nobody have access to her. Only people on the block. Maybe in high school. Maybe she plays sports. Maybe another high school. She kind of bad, you know. But that's it. Yeah. Maybe 2-3 zip codes, tops. Now you have people all over the world saying, oh my God, if I go to America, it's a wrap, homie. Yeah. It's a wrap. So my point is that if she's used to getting attention from all over the world, having a conversation with that person, a woman gets to a point in life where she's done. She's like, you know, I'm tired of this. She knows what a bad boy's gonna do. She know what the geeky guy's gonna do. She know what the loser's gonna. She know already. You ain't showing her nothing she don't already know. But I think what separates the men from the younger man that's still trying to find himself, a young guy just want to smash. I ain't mad at you. You got energy. You hitting the gym. You doing your ab roller.
Yeah.
Hey, you got to get at your system. I completely get it. But every now and then you're gonna be at dinner, at a coffee shop, and I guarantee if you look and say, "What do you want from me?" I'm being, and I usually hold their hands so they know I'm being sincere and I'm not just thinking about 1,000 things. Mm-hmm. What exactly do you want? What do you see? I mean, honestly, what do you want from me? Most of the time they're like, "Oh, damn," because guys don't ask that.
Yeah.
They're so busy. I got you here. I got this over here. I'm trying to, get this over here. Still because I still got it. But I guarantee you, that person, when you ask her that question, one of two things she's going to say. I don't know, which is understandable. I wasn't thinking about it like that. Or here's my scroll.
Yeah.
And you're 90% of this, so it's a wrap.
Mm-hmm.
And the women know. I mean, anytime I've dated a few serious relationships, and they all want to get married. Like, what's up? Let's go ahead and jump this broom. Because they know. Mm-hmm. Al ain't messing around. He's out there getting it. And I was getting it when it wasn't even a thing. I just love to work. People hate Mondays. I love Mondays. Because I know, like, while you over there pouting because it's Monday, I'm out there getting it. And my supervisor's like, damn, he coming in early?
On a Monday.
Coming in early on Monday and not clocking in.
Yeah.
Working for free. Because I want to be there. So you're going to be like, oh, this guy, he's a beast. I'm good. A simple thing. We go for a bike ride and you see a hill. You're like, oh, man, a hill. Jesus. You start praying, looking at your feet, your back hurt, your neck hurt. And I'm like, I'm thinking about it downhill. The sooner I get up this thing, I'm cruising for another mile downhill, 45 miles an hour. I'm good. So what I'm saying is a mindset.
Yeah.
And I think it's up to you to have your mindset on what you want. Because women are ready. Women would get married to you off time. Now, as far as staying married or staying in a committed relationship, that's a whole different thing. But as far as asking her or she's asking you and being 100 saying, look, it's almost like my high school sweetheart, we dated for 6 years. I just got something too good too soon. Mm-hmm. So she raised the bar so high that I kept comparing everyone to it. Like, she was already, making her good money, taking care of me. I mean, back and forth, but she was on it, took care of me. When you said open the door, she would get dressed and G'd up before I even woke up. So she wanted to look her best for me before I even got up. Yeah. So my point is, like, she always had me in mind, like, oh, this tie, I'm gonna get this tie for Al. I think he looks good in this. Without me saying, well, you remember I got you this or I got you that. Not to say it's tit for tat, but you'll know when someone takes care of you first. Mm-hmm. Or, I got this thing, I got you little to go on me. I was thinking about women know and guys know. But I think just having that simple conversation and committing to it, then you're good. But I don't think it's a big gray area as people make it out to be.
What's your opinion on toxic masculinity?
Toxic masculinity meaning like
in regards to like
the man and you do as I say type, whatever.
Yeah, type of thing. Because I mean, again, like it can be taken out of proportion, and ultimately what I want to do is just have a conversation where all these points you've brought up, right, and they're great points because that is the reality of things, as men, whether people want to accept it or not. Right. And so the toxic part of it was that because we have these standards that we're supposed to meet, if we don't meet them, we're not per se men, right? Like we're not going to be labeled as a full man, grown man type of thing.
I grew up in a Latin household. My dad was the main breadwinner, so it was hard for me to commit to a woman because I'm like, I can't cover everything. Mm-hmm. I don't make enough to cover. I mean, he was in the military, so they got housing, whatever, but he was able to cover everything. So my idea of a man's like, I'm covering everything. Mm-hmm. You just show up and I guess do whatever you do. And I kept breaking off relationships because I didn't think of the teamwork aspect of it, and it's still hard for me. Mm. So I think that's what we're struggling with is our family, our parents and grandparents. The man was the main breadwinner, but then again, back then, 40,000 was a gang of money. Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. You see the difference? And it was hard for me to grow with the times, meaning that was then. So when you say toxic masculinity, it just depends on who you're talking about. Meaning, if someone's in a gang and you know, they got their chick choked up and whatever. Is that toxic to her? But if her mom and her sister and her auntie grew up that way, that's probably what she knows. Or she could say to him, look, I appreciate you hustling. I appreciate you getting out and making it happen. I want to have kids with you and grow old. We got to leave this life. We can't do this. Now, he's going to do one of two things. You know what? You're right. I've been thinking about the same thing. X, Y, Z. And I think that's where that teamwork comes into play. Because, you know, a woman could change a man at the drop of a hat.
Well, yeah, for sure.
I mean, they've ruined tons of empires, but we won't get into that. But my point is that if a guy has something to work towards, a guy will shovel SHIT for a woman to make it happen.
Yeah.
I don't care what I got to do. I'm going to make it happen. All I want is someone to come home to say, you know, babe, I got you. You had a long day. You know, here's a Pop-Tart, grilled cheese sandwich. I know, look, I'm a chef. I'm not expecting to do a 3-course meal.
Yeah.
Listen, that's stupid. But at least make an effort. And if you want to do that, God knows what I'll do for you. But a lot of people, it's not that balance. So you're right. You can't provide everything. Even if you move to Alabama, you can't provide it because the economy's lower. You went from making $15 there to like $8, $12, and, you know, maybe $10 there, depending on what county you're in. So you still got to maneuver. So my point is, like, with talking to men is letting them know, like, maybe you can't cover everything, but you could be smart about what you do. You ain't got to spend everything in the bank account. You ain't got to buy the latest iPhone. You ain't got to buy the latest, you know, Chrysler 300 to show that you... Dude, leave that alone. So that's what I'm saying. It's like, if that girl's rocking with you, she's like, you know what, sweetheart, listen. We make this, why not put this away and then we move here and try to get this going over here? Something. Yeah. And that's when you know she's there for you. But if she's just spend, gimme, that's on you. You know better. Yeah. That's on you now. That's on you.
No, that's a perfect way of putting it. You're creating that awareness. You're just becoming aware of it. So then when you see it happening in front of you, you're at that point where you decide, okay, I'm gonna go path A or path B. Right. And ultimately, then that's your full responsibility. But no, that's a really good way of putting it. And that's, again, what you want to create ultimately, because people need to know those narratives so they can understand. And at the end of it, everybody goes into a better place, you know, because everybody becomes more understanding. And then, like, for right now, as an example, I do think that at some point there's going to be a backlash in regards to where the culture is going, in the sense that, you know, right now it's, you know, it's gonna sound wrong, but there's a stronger feminine power you know, right now going on socially, and which is not a bad thing. But again, at the same time, those extremists on that end are making it seem like all men are evil, hate all men, you know, and they make those as they try to label them as truth. Like that's it for everybody.
I'm gonna give you two things that it can work in your advantage. Yeah. Number one, they say date a feminist because when you go, oh, you know, it's my money. Okay, that's cool. When the bill comes, cool. There's your $65. Here's my $65, and we're good. That's going to change real quick. That's number one, because she's used to keeping her money and spending on her. So when you split everything, oh, it's all good. Here's your bill, and here's my. She's going to be like, oh, damn. Yeah. Let me rethink that. Number two is when she goes somewhere and she sees another girl and a guy opening the car door. Like, damn, you look nice tonight. Here you go, sweetheart, get in. That she's gonna be like, oh, how come you didn't open the car door for me? No. That's equal rights. You want to do your own thing. You're a grown ass woman. You get to do it yourself. It's all good. So my point is, like, it's a good talk until they see it with other women benefiting from them. So they sit there with their signs and rah, and that's fine. But when your girlfriend and your homegirl is passing you up and she's landing that guy, because I'm going to tell you something. If I'm making a certain amount of money, I'm not coming home to argue with you. I'm going to tell you that off top. I don't have the energy and I don't have the drive to do it. I'm not trying to date an antagonist. Yeah. Yes, you know, if you bust your butt, you deserve that promotion. Let's go to HR. Let's see what we can do. Or maybe just decide to start your own thing. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, we need guys to build. We build stuff. Look at any skyscraper photo back in the day. How many women you see up there on the skyscraper? Just zero. Maybe one if you're lucky. But we build stuff, and that's what we do. So if you want to sit there and knock guys down and do whatever, from now on, when you meet someone, say, listen, I like you. I think you're a cool guy. And I'm the girl talking. I think you're a cool guy. I want to get to know you, but I would be paying my own way throughout this whole relationship. If we go to Disneyland, I would be paying my $150 to get in. If we go wherever, I'll be paying my own. I mean, seriously, let's keep it 100. If you want to go there, I can go there.
Yeah.
Trust me, I don't mind. I like having my account real nice. A lot of guys say, man, my account was kind of swole when I started dating. It got a little lean. Because you're trying to court the whole courtship thing.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying it's bad. It's just be smart about it.
Yeah, I mean, because ultimately those are some standards that have to, be taken down too. Because I mean, again, if everybody is in the position where they want to have, I'm not saying it's wrong at all, but if everybody wants to be in the position where everything's equal or balanced in a way, then that means that the standards that men are held up to should also not be there. And I mean, it sounds, somebody's looking at this and they're like, man, this is fucking stupid.
It's not stupid, but it's the truth.
And there is that, and it's still ingrained in our culture because, I mean, like you said, your parents, my parents, or they come from Mexico, so they had their own cultures in regards to what the man was supposed to be doing in order to provide for the family. And saying that shouldn't be the case doesn't mean that makes you less of a man. Doesn't mean that that you're poor or something. It doesn't mean anything negative. It just means that you're making the conscious, you're conscious and you're aware that those standards exist, and whether you meet them or not does not make you any less of a person.
You can look at it so many different ways. Yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna say, I have this job for you. You're gonna make 6 figures, but you got to work at least 82 hours a week. Don't even think about holidays and whatever, because you will be here. That's just it's part of the deal. So you go and tell your girl, man, dude, I got Al hooked me up with this gig, 6 figures. Whew, man, we're gonna be set. All right, so the first 2 months, you kind of trick off a little bit of money. You trip here, trip there, you send her here, go to the spa, you do whatever. Pretty soon she's like, damn, I don't see this cat at all. Your hair starts turning gray, but you got to do what you got to. I mean, you want the job, you're gonna do it. Pretty soon y'all stop talking. Pretty soon, cold shoulder, maybe not hooking up as much because you're too tired, blah blah blah. So my point is, like, you can't have it both ways. If you want that certain lifestyle, what it's going to entail. And we're not even talking about the other chicks that's going to be checking you out because you're making that kind of bread. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, I'm just getting from a relationship point of view, but a lot of women don't see it that way. They see, like, we're not spending time together. But a guy way of showing I love you is by me getting out there and getting it. Yeah. I'm not going to come home and say, oh, by the way, I did this. You know what I'm doing. But it's never going to be enough. I realize whatever you do is never going to be enough. If you don't make enough, we're struggling, da-da-da-da. You go out there and get it. I don't see him anymore. And now you want to smash this other guy because he's showing you all this attention. He ain't got a pot to piss in. Yeah. But he's giving you the eyes and it was stuff that you used to do, but you're busy out here getting it. Yeah. So you can't have it both ways. You really can't. But I mean, there has to be a balance. So I never put guys in a bad light or any situation. We do what we got to do. Either you have a support system or you don't. Yeah. Really simple.
In regards to the, I think social media has a lot to do with, it's just accelerated that whole process of, creating the situation where you're now, both in the men's position and women's position. It's just, you have the freedom. Like, let's say for a woman, they have, like you said, the ratio of how many people are hitting them up compared to a man. It's a huge difference, and that also makes it easier for them, women in general, to be courted or to be distracted by someone else much easier than, let's say, 20 years ago. Like you said, you only had the people that were nearby, and you had no option but to kind of just go based off of that. But now you could have anybody coming into your inbox. I would say it falls for both men and females. You can get in contact with any girls while you're with somebody, and girls can be hit on by some other dudes when they're with somebody too, and they're fucking around. So I think that's it's just so young since we've had the internet. I'll still say it's pretty young since it's been around. So we're still trying to get into, find a pattern into how this thing's going to eventually work. So we're all kind of like just free falling right now. But I think definitely that's part of it that's just accelerated that culture and put us where we are too, I mean, with everything else, everything that you can pinpoint.
Everything has, we went from going out, I'm in an industry, so we would always, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, you were slammed. Tickets off the rails, there's a line at the door, reservation only. And then we got, EP22.
Yeah.
All these, food platforms to deliver food. So we went from a line to door to people ordering at home. So that changed our culture too. So we're getting it from this end.
Yeah.
So a lot of restaurants had to kind of revamp a few things, saying, damn, we had one delivery driver. Now we got 20 from different, food takeout things, the Grubhubs and all those guys and whatever. So it hit everybody by storm. It's not just, women and dating. It's all of us. So as a guy again, now you got to re-navigate, because for whatever job you had, maybe they're downsizing or you got to do more with less. So we all got to switch it up a little bit, no matter what.
Let me just respond to her because I have the other person that's about to show up here. But hold on, I'll show you.
That's cool. I could say my little 2 cents. When it comes down to it,
yeah, go for it now. Sorry about that.
I always tell a guy, or men in general, I say, whatever you do, keep your cardio game up. Meaning, whether you run, I do more cycling because I stand all day in a restaurant. So my idea of cycling is I get a chance to sit down. Yeah. So that's my mental thing of sitting down. Your cardio game, meaning like any kind of gym, any kind of fitness, skateboarding, anything that requires you to get your t-shirt wet. Meaning that's your stress relief. And it's going to help you deal with a lot of problems. You get a chance to talk things over in your head, and just clear your mind.
Yeah.
And then once you get that could also turn into your meditative time, meaning quiet, chill out, just enjoy life for a little bit. Just really sit back and say, you know what? I'm here in the U.S. There's not a war going on. I'm not doing a Navy SEAL training. Just sit back and put your feet up just for a second. Just enjoy where you're at. Whether you have 6 roommates or 2, it doesn't matter. Just enjoy where you're at right now. And I guarantee that's going to change your life. Guaranteed.
No, for sure. I went to a point in my life a couple of years ago where I was in, certain ruts. You have all these stresses that, you think that you're not meeting all these things. And, the one thing that kind of had me getting out of there was exercising. It was a perfect time to just run and focus all that energy into something and find a way to, expel it from my body in a sense. And it was great. Again, it's a perfect time to think, to just gather everything and then just make better decisions, and just put things into perspective while you're doing that kind of stuff. So definitely a good way to do it. And again, it's perfect for especially a guy, it's you have that energy that you got to exert, One thing I wanted to bring up before we start wrapping this up, because we got like 7, that's correct, right, Jay? Yeah, we got 7 minutes for this one. Just to clarify, for whoever's listening, the red pill, blue pill stuff, there was apparently a group on Reddit a few months ago, and what we touched base on again was like per se like the healthier way of approaching this concept, right? This whole explanation of it. But there's other people who have gone to the extreme side and they've become really anti-feminist, women haters. We're finding any ways to put that, women down. So I want to clarify too that that's not the case with what we're trying to say.
Not even.
Because again, there's always a fine line between the good and the wrong, and we're trying to find that balance where you're taking into consideration how reality is and how you perceive it, and at the same time understanding that there's certain things that you cannot change, and that you either have to change how you approach them or just find a different way. I don't know if you have anything to say. No.
It's really simple. Not everyone's going to be into you, but I think if you're always a work in progress, meaning if you're overweight, you're out of shape, start walking, and I'm talking more to men, start walking, go on YouTube, get an audiobook, whatever you think you need, talk to your homeboy. If he's knocking out chicks left and right, take a few notes. Don't be afraid to ask. And a lot of times our pride keeps us away from a lot of things.
True.
We should always be improving every day. I'm not saying every day got to change, but just maybe I try this different haircut. Maybe instead of wearing sweaters all the time, I get a nice little collar shirt. Maybe instead of me wearing Jordans all the time, maybe I get some nice comfortable boots to put on. And people, what you present is what people see.
Yeah, correct.
So if you're looking like, a Raider hoodie, I'm not knocking the Raiders, but a hoodie, they're going to see you a certain way. You carry yourself a certain way, there you go. So you got to start with you, though. Don't expect no one to change you or anything. You got to start with you.
Yeah. I mean, and not always necessarily you got to do those changes for a woman.
No.
For
Right.
yourself. Ultimately, it's for yourself. And then once you start seeing that, you start having those things gravitate towards you naturally.
Yep.
And like you said, people notice them, and that's when the opportunity starts showing up.
Yep.
So
Yep.
we're not saying yes to toxic masculinity, guys. So.
But it depends on the situation. Sometimes you got to get toxic to get some things done. But anyway, we're in LA, so we got to do what we got to do.
Yeah. Well, Al, thank you for coming out. If people want to just, I don't know, follow you, get in contact with you, is there any way, if you want people to get in contact with you?
I don't do social media because I can't have people validate my life. Unfortunately, I apologize. But just an email, algordon@gmail.com, or come through you.
Yeah.
I mean, we're probably going to be rocking this a few times. So
right, cool.
feel free to contact the show, and we'll go from there. Any questions, I'd be more than happy we could knock it out together and make it happen. Definitely.
Sounds good. Well, thank you again for coming out.
Cool.
And, just having the conversation, dude.
Thank you from the city of Bell.
Peace.
All right.
Welcome, the sound of the bell rung. Too much heat, you just couldn't repel, son. Here comes Pete with no reason to compete. So don't sleep, cause I'll sweep you off your feet when I excel, son. I'm writing this with my left, this shit is strictly for the deaf. The old soul goes, but not dead, it is Generation Seth, baby Benji and the rest of the others that were born and took their first breath. They say there's no hope, but don't know the depths of the strength of the soul, even after you're dead. However, at this point it is now or never. Throughout this heat, I now enjoy rain cloud better. And through this beat, there is an elevated beat deep with the raps, like the way you meditate and breathe. Sleep, but don't get caught up into inceptive dreams. Before that voice gets loud, we must intercept the screams. You wanna go inside the mind of a lost soul? I don't know where to begin or where to end. The sins of the innocent in the same predicament, sand bitterness in the sand. I'm sick of this system, it's like listening to the same rhythm, and all the sickness came with them. We were nature and law, haters got their hearts pulled out of the chest, and then we traded in with God.
Welcome to the abode, no need to wipe your feet. We all float amongst the horoscopes, light worker do the rope-a-dope with the evil trying to grope. My divine shine inside them a kaleidoscope, move uncanny through every nook and cranny. Smile right back at God's laugh while I'm planning. If ignorance is bliss, then know it must be paradise. These paradise have wandered off to find out that I have a third. It's LA for the city from which I see the earth. Peace to embody every essence of the word, but the true name derives from how our lives collide. The mystic force that drives me and goes to arrive at the crossroads of the vibrant or the lost souls. Bear my gospel, jostle philosophy of lost hope, no boundaries or imaginary limits. Hip hop is how you living. Let it be known, is as to be shown. Come step in the zone, no need for a throne. Drones or the phones, let the current flow you in the depths. You was here. Crack this shit up, let the bullshit disappear. When the music is the only thing that you hear, submerge you, your mama, your prima, and your tia, and the idea that we can all be, from the tall trees to the fresh seeds, the divine intervention that we all need.